Hi folks. This week you are reading John Updike's A&P, which is a classic American short story about a 19-year-old cashier at a grocery store named Sammy and an experience he has with some female customers who come into the store on a particular day. This is a coming-of-age story where we have that sort of epiphany moment for the character. And it's an interesting story in terms of the fact that Sammy is a very colorful and he's a very he has a very specific voice as the narrator, and some people enjoy it, some people are not a particular fan of Sammy, and that's fine. But the way that he tells the story is very important to what we understand about the story. So in order to read this story well, there's some pieces of cultural context that you need to be aware of. So the story was published in 1961, and this story represents a period of time that is very specific in terms of what it represents culturally. So just to give you an idea of what's going on, these are some photos that come up when you Google 1950s or 1950s culture. Okay, and these are some photos that come up when you do the same for the 1960s. So what happens between the 50s and the 60s that we have this very sort of, leave it to Beaver classic Americana white picket fence idea of one decade, and then this very sort of rebellious cultural change into the next generation. What happened is you had about 70 million teenagers come of age at the same time. This is actually the baby boomer generation. But you had the 50s with these very strict rules where rebellion was highly discouraged. Women were expected to dress in a certain way. Men were expected to act and behave in a certain way, and not doing those things in that certain way was very controversial at that period of time. And then you have the 60s, which are known as the time of, hippies and free love and the civil rights movement and all of these very rebellious acts. And that's because of that generational shift. So some scholars have described this generational shift as saying that this is a defining narrative of the 1960s. Which is the youthful rebels taking on a soulless system. Another scholar has said that this period of time is also noted for the ultimate symbol of generational conflict of the 1960s was the contrast between long-haired, freewheeling hippies and their parents in traditional suits and dresses. And I think that that is a great piece of context to bring into A&P, because you will definitely see that at work between Sammy and Langle, and the conflict of character and society that exists in this story. Another thing to note about this period of time is the expectations for everybody were very strict, but they were also very strict for the way that people should dress. So these girls come into the A&P, which is like your grocery store, kind of like it would be like a United today. It's a chain, but it's kind of a local Northeast, area chain. These girls are wearing swimsuits, and you might think of a two-piece swimsuit and, see in your head what we think of as like a bikini today. But this was actually a period of time where even the idea of a two-piece swimsuit was kind of scandalous. So during this period of time, swimsuits looked a lot different than they do today, which I think is helpful to conceptualize. And as well, women who did wear two-piece swimsuits, that was not particularly accepted by everybody. Certainly by many, but there were definitely people in a specific generation who looked down on that and saw it as indecent or as inappropriate. And so then you have these girls coming into the A&P wearing them, much less wearing them on the beach, but wearing them in the grocery store, and that's the inciting incident for the story itself. So you want to keep these pieces of cultural and historical context in mind, and you also want to keep in mind the way that Sammy's narration influences the way that we understand the story. Now, after you read the story, I will give you another video that explains how we apply these literary elements to the story and some things and factors to note. But I want you to make sure and complete your annotations on the story first, see how you do, see what you pick up on, and then I'll give you an idea of what possibilities there are in the story afterwards. I look forward to seeing what you all think about this one.